Hello, yeah. Hi. Welcome to a number of episodes. I'm Maja. You can find me as sjomajlin on Instagram and on Ravelry and on YouTube. And that is pretty much where I'm at. This is Saturday, the 28th, maybe, of March. Excuse me, I have a cushion on my chair and I just realized it was askew. My hair is wet. But I did put on makeup for you. You're welcome. Yeah, this is Saturday. I've had a week. Haven't we all? On Sunday, last Sunday, I spilled boiling water on my foot or my instep. And it hurt. And even though I iced it and iced it and iced it, I wasn't able to sleep. Or I did sleep, but very few hours that night because it was so painful. And then I had to go in on Monday to have a nurse look at it. And it's no big deal. It was just that it hurt really bad. And it's like on top, front top of my instep, so it moves with every step I take, so it really did hurt. But it was no big deal. She put on silicone type band-aid, bandit, and it's fine. But it was just so unnecessary. I took it off. I was supposed to keep it on for like 5 days, so I took it off this morning, and well, the skin is dead, but it's still attached, and it looks pretty bad, but it's okay. And then, and let me see, on Tuesday, okay, so on last Friday, I told you guys that I had my car into the workshop repair place. And then on Tuesday I had a time for, we have this, I don't know if this is an international thing or not, but we have this place where you need to go every so many years to have your car checked up or looked at for safety. So it's not like they don't do any repair or anything there. They just check everything. So they check your lights, they check your like the seat belts, they check like they look underneath the car so it's not rusty in places it shouldn't be. They check suspension, they check the tires, they check everything. They check like the exhaust fumes to make sure that the engine is running properly and everything. So it's a good thing. Everyone has to do that. Every car needs to go in every so often to have it checked, and it's not optional. Or well, it is optional. The alternative is that your car will be illegal to drive. So it's actually on the car. It's not to do with my driver's license. It's on the car. So I had booked a time for this Tuesday to go in, and my car is pretty new. It's 5 years old. So I was like, no problem. So I went in and it didn't pass. Which of course it's a good thing to have a problem, to know that there is a problem and be able to fix it before something really bad happens, before I crash. Oh, my nose. But still, it feels like I failed. So it was, and I don't even know, it's something in the steering. So when you turn the wheels, like the tires, they don't just move like that, right? But they move like, I don't even know, they move around, so it's like a joint. So it's one of those joints that is pretty much just worn through, which is weird because my car is pretty new and it has not gone very far. But yeah, so now I have a month to have that fixed and then to go back and have them look at it again, or my car will be illegal to drive. And it's just, it takes so much energy and it costs money. And I will be able to afford this and pay my rent and water and heat and food or whatever it is that I need. It's not bad, but I don't really it's not really in the plans to buy yarn for a while. And it just takes so much energy, so I was pretty upset on Tuesday. Even though, I mean, of course I know that it's a good thing that I can have this fixed before I actually crash and hurt myself and someone else in the traffic. But it was bad. And then on Monday, I didn't have any gigs on Wednesday. Sorry, on Wednesday. I didn't have any gigs on Wednesday. I needed to do some office work, but I didn't have an actual time, like appointment to be somewhere. So I set the alarm in the morning to get up and go to work or go into the office. And I was pretty relaxed because I didn't have a time to make. So I snoozed, and then I turned the alarm off, and the next time I turned over to look at the clock beside my bed, it was 12:15. So I got up and got into the office. And so I wanted to register some thing in our salary report system thing so that I would get paid. And the options looked different. It looked totally weird. So I was like, okay, it's been, updated or something. So what do I do? So I asked my boss, and it was like, oh, because it was going away. So ask let's call her the administrative boss. She's not actually the boss, but she decides a lot of things. So I did, and she was like, but you're, and it was all weird. And she had to call centrally, do you even say that in English? Nationally, because it's not something that we can fix at my place of work. Tea is going on right here. And then she realized that it's because my terms of employment has changed, even though it really hasn't, because the boss wanted to have me on one set of employment, and she was like, no, that's wrong, I have to talk to him because that's wrong. So I was like, okay, so they're gonna change that, which means that it's more fiddly for me to make sure that everything is okay, and it's also less paid. So okay, I need to go to the, union, to have them negotiate that I keep my salary, because I have the right to do that. So I was like, okay, but do I do that now or do I do that later? And do I go to, because these terms of employment is between different unions. Do you even say unions? Like workers' unions. So I was like, okay, where do I go with this? And it was all weird. But then my boss actually dropped in. He was away, an hour away at another office, so I couldn't talk to him. But then he actually drove back to come to my office and was like, you're on the term of employment I want you on, and it should not be a problem, and if there is a problem, I will make sure that there is not. So I was pretty upset at first, and then that made me feel so much calmer. And then I checked my mailbox to check that I had booked, or that I wanted to have a confirmation that I had booked a time at the car repair, whatever. And I had the answer from them, and they said that they were gonna pay, or they were gonna take half the cost for the car repair. So that really turned around, and then I've had Thursday and Friday was pretty good. They were pretty good. But the start of this week was just, so I had pretty high plans on what I was gonna have time for this week, and I just didn't. And the night between Sunday and Monday, as I said, I slept really, really poorly because my foot was hurting so bad. So I've been very tired, so I have gotten a lot done anyway, but I'm a bit off track from what I was planning to do. So, 10 minutes in. Is it 10? I think it's 10. I can't see, I'm not wearing my glasses. Oh, my hair is doing something. Okay, I have knitting content as well. I'm not just complaining this week. I have some finished objects. First, I'm going to show you an object that is not finished this week. These are my earphones. Can you see them, or do you just see my hand and I need to sneeze? Excuse me. So I've crocheted around these, as you might be able to see if I do like that. Or is it focusing on my face? So this is with Madeline Tosh yarn in a colorway that I do not remember at the moment. I did these a couple of years back, I think. So I didn't do these now, but I did crochet in my friend Patrick, who you might know by now if you watched the Abroad episode. I did his earphones, but he has them, so I couldn't show you. I used this yarn, which is, I believe it's an online sock yarn, and I would want to call it a semi-solid black. I don't know what it looks like on my screen, but maybe it's more of a grey really, but I would say it's washed out black. So I did crochet his earphones in. What I did do on his, and what I also did do on these, is, and I've never learned what they're called in English because it's different. Like a single crochet is different in British English and American English, right? But I did like the basic stockinette stitch or net stitch of crochet, if you will, but around the cord instead of going down in the stitches of the row below whilst crocheting. And what I also did do in both of these, as you might be able to see in this color shift with this brown, and I'm shaking just a little bit, I hope that's you can see. Anyway, I did a Navajo ply on the fly, but without a twist. So I did do this, what do you call it, like a slip knot, and just pull it through and then work with the 3 strands, but without a twist, but I had them held together. And then when the loopy part is, you know, running out, I pulled the running yarn through again and pulled it out as, like, you know, a good reach. So it's a Navajo ply, but without a twist. Which I think is a good way to work with a yarn if you... I've used it in some other things, when the yarn is too thin and you want it thicker. And held double might not be thick enough, or that if you have like a ball wound like this and you might not want to, you know, unwind it to be able to do a center pull ball, so that you can have the inner pull and the outer, but you want to be able to work with just the one end, then because then you can hold it 3 doubled without using the 2 ends or having to use 2 balls. Am I making sense? I hope so. So I did do, not these, but yeah. And then I did do a crocheted project, another crocheted project this week. And I was gonna show you, but it has faded now. When I crochet, I get a good dent here. And didn't bring my crochet needle or crochet hook. I was going to show you because I do hold it like a pen when I crochet, and I prefer to have a bend in it. And I think people usually think that is weird. Yeah, you can see a little bit though that it's a bit swollen right there, even though it's not. It was bright red before, or angrily red. But I did do another crochet project this week. This is for a friend whose birthday was yesterday. So this is what I meant with that I didn't get what I had planned to get done this week. I didn't get done because I had planned to have this done in plenty good time to actually have it sent out in the mail. But I finished this yesterday, so we don't have our, what do you say, like the mailbox where you post stuff. They get emptied on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. And the post is delivered on Monday through Friday. So today is Saturday, so it's really no point in me posting anything like last night or today, because it won't be taken away until tomorrow anyway. So I thought I might as well show you, and then I will ship this out to my friend who lives not here. There is a chance that he will be watching this, so Martin, if you don't want to know him beforehand or on, look away now if you don't want to know what it is that you're getting, okay? You might be able to guess anyway, and maybe you're not watching. I don't even know. Okay, so I made him a pot holder. Let me just reach over here, because I never mentioned this. I'm in my kitchen, so my fridge and my stove is right over there. So just picked up this. This is a pot holder that my mom made me a couple of years ago. And I just love this construction. It's like a proper, like a regular pot holder, right? But with a thumb. So that it's a cross between a pot holder and oven mitten. Do you say that? And I think that this is genius. So what she did, and I just have the one out right now, but she did like this right hand and left hand with the thumb slightly to the side. Let me just hang that back on the stove. But I've done a few of these, but I do the thumb in the middle. And so I did a bit of a blunt thumb, yeah, in a contrasting color, or two contrasting colors actually, because I ran out of this blue yarn. These were leftovers from the Lado sweater, so they are Drops Fable. So this is two blue colors held together, and then I used the brown that is the main color of the, excuse me, sweater, and this gray for the thumb and also for some contour. Excuse me. And I did crochet it longer and then fold it over to have this flap to also, his hands are a bit larger than mine, but so that you can have the thumb in the thumb and then, you know, have it like a better grip with the flap over the fingers. Was the idea I had anyway. So it looks a bit weird, but I think it's I think it might be a good construction. Yeah, so as I said, the yarn is Drops Fable, which I've made some more stuff out of, but I didn't bring up all that. But it's a sock yarn. I think it's superwash, wool and nylon, or polyamide, or one of those. Yeah, so a finished object, a crocheted finished object. It's a pretty big pot holder, but I think it's good, or I hope it will be. Yeah. As I said, I finished that much later than I had intended to, but it is what it is. Life happens. And then I have another finished object. Last week I had finished the first of the Gudrun mittens, and I had just started, but I was up to before the thumb. I was in the thumb gusset, but hadn't separated for the thumb yet. So I finished the second mitten as well. So this pattern is called the Gudrun mitten. It's available in English and in Swedish on Ravelry. It's a paid for pattern by Maria Lerkeng, who is Asfaltsflickan as well. You can go through my project page if you want to find it, and if you're not sure about the spelling. I haven't put these up, but I have my first mitten project up, and they are in white and green self-striping, and for one of the colors, and a purple for the other. So you can find them if you want to go through there. It's a really nice pattern. I really enjoy making it, and I think that they look really beautiful. And these are also out of Drops Fable, leftovers from the Lado sweater that I made. I was a bit nervous going through the second mitten, and then I finished the mitten. I had a thumb left and the yarn was running out, and this is how much I had left, so it wasn't close, but I wasn't certain of that until I was almost done. So yeah, I did block these yesterday, or over the night actually. What I do is use the leg of my sock blockers, because they fit perfectly, I would say, as the mitten. They are a bit wider up top, but they stretch the pattern wonderfully. And for the thumb, I used and I'm totally blanking on the English word, but you know, like kitchen tools, which fit the thumb amazingly actually. So it was, I felt, you know, a little bit of MacGyver, but it worked out great. And I folded the cuff of the mitten up so that it wouldn't be stretched over the instep and heel. So there's a tip for you if you didn't know, and if you have some, maybe you don't. But since it's color work, stranded color work, I wanted to block it out a bit so that the color work would be more even. So I finished those, and then let me just have some tea. I finished this first sock that I excuse me, I was working on last week. I think I was just about, these are knit sew up. So I was just after the heel last time, so I finished the leg. So these are, it's the blueberry waffle texture or structure. Oh, excuse me. These are out of my handspun Leicester. And I've told you that I divided the yarn I had into 2 cakes, and so that I could knit them sew up so that I can use everything. But when I was, well, about this far, I realized I had some yarn left. I don't know how much, but I had some yarn left in that first cake. But I realized I didn't want to have them higher than this, so I finished it sooner than, or I had more yarn, but I finished it sooner, so I will make something else with that yarn, maybe like bluebirds of happiness, or I've started to make these small ornament socks out of my handspun as well for Christmas or so. So I will totally have enough yarn to make that. So I finished the first sock and I started the second one, and I've knit the foot, and I am just about to start working back for the heel. So I'm making the sweet tomato heel, and I mentioned last time, because you do it in like segments, and I mentioned last time that maybe I should have made the last segment shorter, and as I made the leg longer I realized maybe I could have skipped. I did it in 3 segments, maybe I just had needed 2. That was weird grammar. I think I could have skipped the third segment out altogether. Skipped it out? I'm from Sweden, I'm allowed to make mistakes. Yeah, so the heel is a bit wonky, but it's okay. I'm not gonna rip it out, it's not that bad. And as I mentioned, I'm just gonna keep these as like bed socks or around the house socks. So the fit doesn't have to be perfect. So I will make the heel the same in this one, because I want to have, well, that symmetry on my feet, or else I will go crazy. So it's a sweet tomato heel, so I've knit across for the first, or like for all the stitches, and I'm just about to purl back the first time on this one. And this is Magic Loop size 2mm needles, and this is a premium, Addy premium needle. Oh, the pollen, you guys. I'm loving the spring weather, but so I'm working on that as well, and it's coming along. And the last work in progress that I have, or it's really just the second since I finished the other stuff, is this shawl, stole-like shawl that I'm working on, and it's coming along. But it looks the same, and it's gonna just look the same for the length of it. So it's not that much to show you, but I'm really liking it, and this wool is just delicious. So that is what I'm working on, and I just realized that there was one thing that I wanted to mention up front that I totally forgot about. Something happened in the last episode that I want to apologize for. I don't know what happened, and there is really there is no excuse. It was not even an honest mistake. I totally knew better. I shouldn't have... there is no excuse, and I am sorry. I did talk about the daffodils, or the narcissus, and then I mentioned Narcissa Malfoy in the Harry Potter books and films. And I totally blamed her for stuff that her sister did. I am completely aware that they are two different people, that Narcissa and Bellatrix are not the same person, and that they should not be blamed for what the other one does. And I am sorry. As I said, I don't know what happened. It was a complete mess up on my part, and I am sorry. That feels good, having that off of my shoulders. Speaking of things that I messed up, I'm wearing today an really old FO. One of my first, me-sized projects. And it was very, very improvised, and I had to fudge some things along the way. But, well, it's a nice t-shirt. It's a bit not bulky, but oversized and boxy maybe. And I quite like it. I've had to redo, or not redo, because I haven't ripped out, but I had to fudge the neckline quite a few times. So it's a little bit wonky, but it's okay. So it's knit bottom up in the round, and there are so many hairs just because I washed it this morning. Yeah, knit in the round, bottom up. Shouldn't really be a problem. Months after I finished it, I haven't used it that much, but months after I finished it, I realized what happened. One single purl stitch, and in the color change, so that the purl bump is in the wrong section. And I think it's adorable. I really didn't do it on purpose, but I'm thinking I might just have to do things like this on purpose, because I think it's so adorable. Well, maybe doing it on purpose would make it less adorable. I guess it would. But I love it anyway. And I did this small design feature. Yeah, you can almost see it. A small cable in the back as well. So it was a bit adventurous at least. Yes. A few weeks back I had ordered a Malabrigo sock yarn. And I looked at it whilst recording, and I was almost about to cry because it was so beautiful. And since then I've sort of put it to the side in my stash so that I can see it, but I couldn't really see it. And I've been glancing at it and really enjoying it, but keeping my distance. And on Thursday I started after lunch, again, as I did on Wednesday. So in the morning I was browsing some patterns on Ravelry, and I took the skein out and I admired it and I squished it and I posted some pictures to Instagram, and I patted it and cuddled it and brought some patterns, and I looked at the yarn and brought some patterns and I squished it. And then when I realized I should have gone to work like 5 minutes ago, so I rushed out the door. So I've decided, and I really don't remember what the pattern was called, but I think I've decided what pattern to knit with it or use it for. But I was a bit apprehensive because it was so beautiful, the yarn in the skein. So I was a bit, because some yarns are so beautiful in the skein, but then when you wind them up into a cake or a ball, it doesn't really look good. So I was a bit scared. But yesterday I wound it up into a skein, or a cake, which I didn't bring. And it looks so pretty in the cake. And it's so squishy in the cake. And I should have brought it, but I didn't. I will show you next time, I promise. So I'm about to start that. Because right now I have the sock and this, ooh, I almost spilled my tea, going on. So I need something else because I like to have more things than two going on. And the socks are almost, no, they're not almost finished. I have a fourth or quarter left, pretty much, or a bit more than a quarter. But I will work on those to get them done, because you know, sometimes you just feel, you know that, well, it's time. It's time to have them finished. So then I need to cast on that Malabrigo yarn. So I will show that to you next time. But that was such a relief, because I was afraid that it wouldn't look as awesome in a cake, and it did. So now it might, you know, now I'm a bit apprehensive to start knitting with it, because it might, you know, pull and flash in a bad way. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Or I'll have to see. Yeah, so that is coming up. One of my favorite things this week, just let me look over at the time. Yeah. One of my favorite things this week is a pretty boring thing, but it is a good thing. And it is due to my burnt foot. I went into the... well, it's not the hospital, but I had a nurse look at it on Monday. And we have these, like, for each... I'm sure there is a ratio, like a set number, pretty much, or at least a statistic, that for each hospital we have a set number of these smaller, like, hospitals, but they're not hospitals, like healthcare centrals, with nurses and doctors and, yeah, so that we usually don't have to go to the hospital. We usually go to these healthcare centrals, but they are in the same system. So it's not actually the hospital, but I don't know what other word to use for it. And then we have to pay a fee to see a doctor or a nurse or whoever it is we need to see, which is pretty small, really, because we do pay a lot of taxes. We pay between 32 and 35% of our income, or on our salary, goes straight to taxes. So we get 2/3 of our salary. But then that money goes to, well, for example, we don't have to pay as much to see the doctor, which is a good thing. So on Monday, when I went to see the nurse, I had to pay a small fee. I had to pay a small fee to see her. And then I reached a thing that I don't know what it's called in English, like a high cost protection roof. So it's a set sum of money that... So the idea is that you should never have to pay, and there are some exceptions, but you should never have to pay more than this amount of money for healthcare in a year or in a 12-month period. So if you just have like a random doctor's appointment, you just pay for it and that's it. But then if you have like another one and maybe a third in a short-ish period of time, you can ask to have this small like leaflet or booklet where you can enter how much you've paid and on which dates. And then when you reach this amount, which is 1100 Swedish crowns, which is about 110 euros, which I believe is about 130 US dollars ish. When you reach that, you will get like this free pass card that says that you don't have to pay for anything else, with some exceptions, as I said, for the remainder of that 12-month period. So that happened to me on Monday. So, and then she looked at the dates, because if you've had, like, you know, your first date or your first doctor's appointment and then it's been a few months, then maybe it's better to take that out and then have another one and then reach the amount. Am I making sense? But now I have until September something, 20th something. Until then I won't have to pay if I need to go see the doctor. And as I said, there are some exceptions to this. I think that if I need to have an X-ray I might have to pay for that. And some other things, but that is also, with taxes, the price is strongly or highly reduced. So for these, well, 1100 Swedish crowns, I've had about 10 doctor's appointments within that sum. So it's really not expensive. That is, however, for the actual like appointments. Then we have a similar system for having to pay for medicine. And I don't know what amount of money that is, but we have the same there, that no one should ever have to pay more than a set amount of money in a year. Obviously with some exceptions, but so those combined obviously means a higher combined price that you have to pay for healthcare before you reach it, but it's still, I think it might be pretty much the same. I'm not sure, but it's not expensive. It's not that expensive really, and I think that is amazing. I hear, you know, in social media and popular culture and stuff like that, I hear about, well, mainly things that are going on in USA, because that is a lot of like pop culture comes from there, that you need to have these health insurances to be able to afford to seek healthcare at all. And we can also have health insurance that will cover like if you have to have time off from work because of well, health issues. We will automatically get money, but then you can have health insurance that will give you a higher percentage of your salary back and stuff like that. But we don't need, like, anyone, really anyone in Sweden are able to seek health care, even when it's not like super emergency, yeah. And I think that is such an awesome thing, really. So that is, I've mentioned that these favorite things always make me so happy when other people do it, and I realized that this one thing that this healthcare system thing is not really that feel-good, happy spark type thing, but I think it's a really important thing, and I think it's really, really good. And I know that I am very fortunate to have this, to have it, really. Yeah, so there. I think that is what I've got for you this week. It's sunny out. We've had a very overcast week. So I really need to get this into the computer and let it process and have some time to sit out in the sun whilst it's doing so. Grammar check. Yeah. Feel free to like and subscribe and be my friend on Ravelry and on what's the other? Instagram. It's called Instagram. Yeah, and also I did post a small video of me singing on this channel this week, because I've had some requests to hear me sing. And I've had some awesome feedback on that, and thank you very much. I don't mind doing stuff like that, like other small things, but I just want you to know that I am intending to keep this being a mostly knitting and knitting related and crafty podcast channel. If that is a concern of yours, I'm not gonna, just flood you with other things, but there might be small things sometime, and if you don't want to see that, just skip it. That is completely fine. But, well, I like when other channels pop these like small things in every once in a while, so I might do that sometimes, but for the main part this is gonna be like a mostly knitting but also crafty podcast. So that is all. Do take care of yourselves, be kind to yourselves and to one another, and enjoy your yarn. Bye!